Welcome to the Bodybuilding Banter podcast, your number one source of all things bodybuilding. Be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on future episodes. Now, here's your host, Leroy Rollins.
All right, people, welcome to the Bodybuilding Banter podcast. I'm here with my man, Denis Mihov. Dennis, introduce yourself to the people, and let's just dive right into this.
Alrighty, so as Leroy said, my name's Dennis, and again, I'm very kind of and appreciate the fact that he's having me on the podcast. And to put it fairly simply, I'm a guy that just turned 20 almost a month ago. I'm a two-time British champion in the BNBF,
Sick.
world holder in the DFAC, and an overall title in the BNBF Welsh so far. And that's pretty much it. And everything else is just work as a PT.
Yep. Is that what you do full time?
Yeah, basically I'm doing a full-time job in Results Health Club, which is the main gym in the town that I'm in.
Nice. Yeah, so you've accomplished quite a lot, only being 20. Quickly give me your, one sentence on how that feels.
I mean, it's kind of overwhelming, and at the same time, I don't know how to take it, because I don't know. I just don't know how to take it.
Yeah, that's so cool. So let's start from the top, man. Let's start with what got you into the gym. How old were you and that kind of stuff.
What got to the gym was, nothing really special. It was just my dad turning around to me and saying, "Look, you're growing really tall. I don't want my son to be a tall and skinny bloke."
Sure. How tall are you?
So, to be honest, right now I'm 6 foot.
Okay.
Just scraping 6 foot. But when I was 12, I was I'm probably gonna lie here, about 5'8".
Okay, so you were tall when you were younger.
Yeah, and when I was 12, I was predicted to be 6'6".
Woo.
By the time I'm 22.
That's crazy.
I'm quite glad I'm not.
Yeah, that's when you get to be the inconvenient height, right? You're 6 foot, so you're still you're tall, but it's not like you're super tall. But once you're 6'5" and up, that's when driving in a car becomes a pain, or walking anywhere.
Oh, when they told me, I still remember when they told me that they the doctors predicted me to be 6'6". I was just stood there
what?
Hell no!
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Are your parents super tall or no?
No, the only tall, from my dad's side, my granddad, or my great-great-granddad, I think it was.
Yeah.
He was the one that was super tall. He was 6'5".
Okay.
So he's the only one that was tall.
He just passed it all down to you.
Pretty much.
Right on.
I was quite surprised with it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so Dad was basically okay, son, start lifting stuff because you're getting too skinny. So how did that, pursue after that?
After that, I pretty much just asked him, okay, well, what do I need to do?
Sure.
Can you give me a base to work on?
Yep.
And, as a dad, he got me to the gym that he goes to, and he showed me the exercises that he does, such as bench press, squat, deadlift. Those were the basics, yeah. So then from there, he taught me how to do them. And then after that, I asked him if there's anything else that I can add to it. He said, well, I don't want you to add anything else too much to it, but the only thing that I'll show you is a bicep curl or a chest fly.
Sure.
Or, a pull-up or something like that. And that's pretty much how I got it. From there, I just took it on myself, started reading stuff about it, reading about how the muscles work, the skeletal system, the muscular system.
Yep.
Which muscles work, which exercise. I asked my dad, what does that work? He tells me, your chest.
Yeah.
What does that work? Your back. What does that work? Your legs. But, I didn't get anything other than that.
You get the very basics.
Yes. So from there, just searching it for myself, I kind of figured out what what everything is. And from there, I just took it on and just learned more.
That's awesome. So did your dad have like a bodybuilding background, or is he just a gym goer?
He kind of did. Because I come from Bulgaria, which is a ex-Soviet country. Back when he was 20, he had to serve in the army there.
Okay.
So he served as a soldier. And in his 20s, he was quite into it. He was lifting a lot of weights.
Yeah.
And there was one bodybuilding competition that they were doing there, but it was mainly between the soldiers. So that's the only kind of bodybuilding experience that he had.
So pretty casual with that.
Yes, but to be honest, he was fairly big.
Yeah.
He was a fairly big dad. I think the highest weight that he reached was like 250, 260 pounds. I mean, he was huge.
That's a big guy. Let's just throw that there right now. That's a big dude.
His average weight was between 220, like the lowest 220 to up to 250. That was his average weight.
Holy, that's crazy. Okay, so before we get into what happened after that, what was like your nutrition like? Did he give you anything about diet when you were that age, or he was just like go to the gym?
It was just like go to the gym and just eat.
Just eat. Just eat everything.
I mean, I kind of did ask him like, okay, what can I eat? And he was just stood there like, just eat whatever you see, whatever is in front of you, I just eat it.
Perfect, because that's like, I think people overthink it when they're young, right? Like, people are trying to find like exactly what to eat, and when you're, I got started at a similar age when you did, and that was the same thing. I just ate everything because I just wanted to grow.
I mean, to be honest, I'm noticing it now, a lot of youngsters do overthink it, like you said. And I get a few youngsters here and there asking me how to get big and how to build muscle. And it's not really rocket science. I tell them, like, now that I'm in my 20s, I'm kind of getting even more knowledge through age, through my personal experiences. And whenever a guy in his, like, 15s or 16s comes up and asks me, like, well, how can I get big? And I just tell him, like, look, just eat. I mean, don't overthink it. Just go eat a pizza, eat a burger,
exactly.
whatever you feel like eating.
No, I agree.
Obviously, don't overdo it, though, but just have it. I mean, there's nothing that's going to do you harm.
Yeah, and, like, I find, like, for the young guys, like, if they're training and stuff, and probably in some kind of sport, like a lot of kids are, like, you're not, like, what little body fat you gain, like, that's an aside to the muscle that you're going to put on as well, right? Like, I'd rather get a little bit fluffy and gain more muscle than try to stay lean and not get big.
Exactly. I mean, puberty is a steroid in itself.
Yeah, totally.
You're going through a steroid phase of where your body's just changing and it's growing into its mature phase. I mean, might as well just feed it anything, and in the future, feed it then, and in the future, bother about what you should eat, what you should not.
No, exactly. Okay, so talk to me about, mid to late teens. You're in the gym now. What kind of evolved from that? Like, when did you start, looking into, like, okay, what kind of split maybe I'll do? Maybe nutrition things you started looking into? Like, what evolved after your first year or two in the gym?
Well, to be honest, I followed the basics of what my dad pretty much gave me for, I think, nearly 4 years.
Okay.
Kind of shabby memory there, but I mean, I remember that the moment that everything changed was when I met a. I forgot his name, but like he was a black dude from what we have in the gym in the UK, a leisure center. The White Horse Leisure Center. I'm pretty sure that if somebody's watching me from the UK, they're gonna know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
It's basically a very big chain of like just health and fitness center.
Okay. Yep.
So that's what it basically is. So when I came out to the UK, that was one of the first places that I went as a real gym.
Sure.
And I went in. I've been training there for like 5-ish, 6-ish months, and then I see this like big ass black dude that comes up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And me being curious every now and then, I went up and I just asked him a few questions like, how do you do this? How do you do that? And he was a very nice guy. He walked me through it, and he asked me he asked me about me, like how old am I and what am I doing? When I told him that like I think I was 15 at the time, and it was boy, you're 15.
Sweet.
Was sort of like this kind of voice, and I just stood there like, well, yeah, I mean, back then I wasn't really big. I was like around 170 pounds, but like, still for a 15-year-old, that was fairly okay.
Yeah, especially if you were in the gym consistently, you probably had a decent base, right?
I wasn't fat. Like, I think my 15s, 16s, and going into 17, I think those were the years where I actually didn't have much fat on me at all.
Right.
Even though I was eating loads of food, it wasn't really packing on as fat. So that's the one thing that was a very good thing for me.
Totally.
So yeah, he was surprised with that. He was asking me of what I do. And then I told him that obviously I'm following a very basic split. He was like, let me teach you some stuff. And when he got me on the bench, he introduced me to a drop set, a failure set. He introduced me to, the different approaches of how you can train stuff.
Exactly.
And, and since then, curiosity just sparked again, and I just wanted to learn more.
Just kept learning.
And yeah, pretty much for the next 5-6 months, I was just asking him, I was like, okay, well, how do you do your split? How can I do my split? And most of the times, he was just showing me how he does it, and then he told me, like, look, if it works for you, try it as well. If it doesn't, then try something different that will suit you. And that's pretty much how I took it. And then from there, I was just learning what works for me and what doesn't work for me.
Yep.
Even though it's such an early stage, obviously I was just curious. I wanted to know more. And that was pretty much how it developed. From there, I just developed into the Arnold blueprint. I think you've seen it already.
Yeah.
Haven't you? So yeah, I kind of looked into it, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try it. I've nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I tried it, and that kind of suited me at the time because I was doing rugby in the meantime as well.
Right.
So that Arnold blueprint kind of did fit me, but at the same time it didn't. So I was just changing around a few things.
Yep.
And after that, I just took it on, and as the way I felt, as I'm doing it right now, which is the main way that I would prefer people to do it. Like do it by feel instead of like have your exercise that you need to have. Like let's, for example, if you need to bring up your back, have like deadlifts as a mandatory, and then possibly T-bar rows, and then overhand and underarm rows.
Yep.
And just switch them between whichever one you feel, because let's say you go in a day where you've worked more hours, 2 hours or 3 more hours than what you normally have.
Yeah.
Or you're just more exhausted because you haven't eaten enough.
For sure.
Let's be honest, you're not going to do deadlifts, are you?
Yeah.
It's not going to feel nice. So then I tell people to just switch it about. It's the same thing I do.
Nice. So when you were training, did you structure it like the big lifts kind of took focus and then you do accessories after that? Was that kind of your approach?
Yes, which I actually took a very big beating on my body from one of my approaches that I did before.
Right.
And that was, you've probably seen it as well. I'm seeing it now in the gym that I work at, where you do squats and deadlifts together in one day.
That always hurts.
Exactly. That is my reaction now when I see people doing it, because I know how much it hurts.
Yeah.
And I was doing it for 7-8 months, and that thing destroyed my back. After that, I just had to stop deadlifting for a year, or even stop squatting for 2 months to kind of get my back in focus. But basically, I structured it around the big lifts. Bench press, I've always been doing bench press.
Yep.
It's not really a lift that I haven't been doing.
Right.
There's obviously times of where I'll have problems with like my shoulder or my thumb because of rugby mainly, and I'm not going to do bench press, but I'm still going to be doing like a dumbbell press version of it.
Yep.
So I structured it just around the main lifts, and then doing accessory, like small to accessory workouts or exercises after.
Nice. Now, were you doing like how many days a week would you train at that time? Were you like 4-day, 5-day split, 6-day, every day? What was your structure there?
6 days.
Yeah. I found
it was.
Go ahead.
it was kind of extreme. Now I can't even think of doing 6 days.
No, I'm the same way.
Prepping.
I'm the same way.
Unless
Like I'm like a 5-day max. Give me like 2 rest days dabbled in there, because I find and especially as you learn more, like your training becomes more effective, and
exactly.
And then you need that recovery time, right? Like when I was younger, it'd be nothing to train for like 3 weeks straight and like not even care, right? But like I was probably doing random things that weren't effective and, wasting time, and I could recover from that and then train again the next day. But now it ain't like that anymore.
That sounds like complete deja vu to me, because I remember when I was doing, I was a bit crazy during the summertime. I was just bored. I had so much time to myself, and I was bored as hell. And I was going to the gym all the time.
Yeah.
For like the 4 weeks, and I was like, during my rest days of my lifting, I was like, well, what can I do? So I was looking up, and it was this like 300 rep thing from The Rock or something like that.
Yeah. You're like, I'll do that.
I'll do that. And
That's funny.
Now when I'm thinking about it, I'm just there like, what was going through my head?
No, for sure, man. I can remember like being in high school and stuff, and having like summer break, and like I had a buddy that was pretty much as into the gym as I was, and we lived close to each other, so we'd get up and like we'd go to the gym for like maybe like 11 a.m., come home and relax for a little bit, maybe play some video games, chill, and then be like,
go back.
You want to go to the gym again? And we're like, hell yeah, let's do arms, right? Like, but you could do that back then, and again, it was probably doing 4 or 5 things that were random and stupid and ill-effective, or like wrist curls, like we do like a shit ton of forearms in the afternoon, right? Like,
yeah, and
you could train the next day, but now like if I'm doing legs, like you best bet the next day is a rest day, because that's not good.
Mate, when I do legs, the next day is just, I prefer to sit down, but if I'm training, I swear the training's not going to go as good.
No, like I do, I do 2 leg days a week right now, and they're split up. But one day is like a little bit less volume, so it's more manageable. But on Saturdays is when I really like basically go in there with the mindset that I'm not gonna be able to walk on Sunday. And Sundays, like today, like it's raining here now, which is even better because it's an excuse not to do anything. But like I've just been like chilling all day, either on the computer or on the couch or whatever, because I just need to recover.
Mate, I don't blame you. I know that feeling far too well.
Totally. Okay, so let's talk about when you started to think about competing. When did that all start?
That's actually quite an interesting story. Again, I met quite an old fella from the gym that I'm at right now.
Right.
I've been at this gym for the past 5 years, because I joined it, as much as I know, just after I met the black guy, which I was about 15. So I've been there for 5 years, and there's this like fairly tall, 6'4" old fella. He's like 78, almost in his 80s, and he's still going at it.
He's killing it.
He's still killing it, and obviously I've got huge respect for elderly people, but I've got even more respect for elderly people that still are doing something, totally physically demanding.
Yeah.
So I always paid respect to him, and his name was Bob. So basically, he was always impressed with what I was doing and everything that I was taking on.
Yeah.
And one time when I think it was winter in 2015 when I was 16. That's when he turned around and said, have you ever thought about competing?
Okay.
Like bodybuilding competing? And I just like, not really. I mean, I've always watched back then the Olympias, which is where Kai Green and Phil were battling it out.
Yep.
And when Branch Wong was Branch Wong still about in 2015?
Yeah, I think he was still kicking at 20. He was definitely on his way out, if not.
Yeah, obviously I kept track of Mr. Olympia and all that, but I never thought that I was going to be on pretty much trunk bottoms with almost everything else, but almost butt naked, as people say it.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it to be like that. But like when he asked me, I was like, it could be a possibility. I mean, I never denied it. And when he asked me about it, I was like, I never thought about it, but I might have a look at it. And by the time 2016 Oh, was it? No. Yeah, by the time 2016 just came about, I went into 2016, and I've still got this thought about bodybuilding and getting on stage. But obviously, I'm just unsure.
Yeah.
And from there, I met a guy that trains people, and he's into bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So he kind of asked me about, like, are you planning on doing it? And I was like, well, maybe. I'm still not sure. I'm just in my 16, 17. I'm like, I'm not sure. I don't know. So he was like, okay, well, let me know if you are, and we can do something about it. Now, the whole of 2016, the beginning till almost summertime-ish in June,
yeah,
I was thinking about it. I was just stood there thinking about it. I was like, I don't know. Have you got that moment of where it's just weeks on ends of where you just stood there like, man, I don't know if I should do that.
Oh, yeah, man. When I was, like, first getting into thinking about competing, I think for a solid year, I would, like, diet for maybe 4 or 5 weeks, and then I'd, like, change my mind. And then, like, a couple months would go by, and I'm like, no, I'm doing it this time. And then I changed my mind, and, like, I totally know what you mean. I was in and out of it for probably a year and a half before I finally was like, okay, let's do this.
I was exactly like that, but there was like a switch to me on middle of July. So middle of July, I was watching a bodybuilding show, and I think it was a pro show, the New York Pro, something like that. But
okay,
they did it early, or it was an old one, I can't remember. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a try.
Yeah.
So I messaged the guy. We met up just at the beginning of August, and I told him, "Look, I wanna give this a shot. Have I got enough time?"
Yep.
Now, being at almost the beginning of August, you're looking at the bodybuilding season almost being over.
Sure. Yeah.
And he told me, like, man, I mean, you're kind of cutting it short, and you calling it a long shot, but I mean, you're young, so I guess you can give it a try and see if you can get ready. Because the next show that I'm guessing that you can attend was the Northern qualifier for the BNBF. Now, that's when I, for the first time, heard about the BNBF.
Sure.
And he told me that it's on the 25th of August. So you're looking at it, and it's just 4 weeks.
What?
So, I was just stood there like, well, I'm going to give it my best shot. I'm going to try and do something. Obviously, I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know how long a diet should take, or I don't know how anything should take in terms of like a bodybuilding competitive.
So your first prep was 4 weeks?
Yes, and it was not nice.
Explain that. Just give me, like, briefly outline, like, what do you mean? Like, super low carb, high cardio? Like, what do you mean?
It was high cardio. Everyday cardio. Morning. It was mainly mornings. So it was cardio, weight training, and nutrition-wise, he gave me a little guideline of what to do. So, like, nutrition-wise, I was just introduced onto measuring food and measuring macros.
Yeah.
And you're looking at around 250 grams of carbs to around 300 grams of protein, and then like 50 to like 30 grams of fat. So
low fat.
That was low fat, high protein, and middle-ish carbs. Mm-hmm. And I did that for 4 weeks with the cardio and the weight training, and also got to stage time on the 25th. And I'm looking at myself like I've looked the best I've ever looked personally, and I was like, you know what, this probably isn't that bad, even though I hated every single minute of cardio and training going up to it. I was like, you know what, this isn't too bad. So obviously I didn't know about tanning, so in the morning of the show, my dad came and picked me up, and we went to Manchester North, which was around 2.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
And we went there, and the guy was there, and he asked me, like, are you ready? Like, obviously took my clothes off, posed around a little bit. again, like rookie, I couldn't pose for anything. To save my life, I couldn't pose for it back then.
Yeah.
So he was like, okay, you're looking good. And he obviously introduced me to tanning. I was like, what is that?
This? Yeah, for sure. That's
like,
always weird, eh? That first tanning experience, like no one talks about it and has like just a normal story. Everybody's like super weird about it. Like it's definitely, I don't know, it's an obstacle in bodybuilding everybody has to overcome, right?
Exactly. But mine was funny because it happened in a car park.
Nice.
So obviously there was nowhere else that I could get tan. So it happened at the car park, and you're looking at me almost butt naked in the middle of a car park where it's like August, 25th of August. It's just going to like autumn in the UK. And, you know, when your body fat levels are low, you're freezing cold no matter what temperature it is.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Totally.
And I was just shivering my.
Good times, eh?
I'm never going to forget that first tanning experience. I'll tell you that.
So how'd you place in that show?
I won. It was a team class, and it was 3 guys there, me and 2 more.
Yep.
And I won my show. You know, that was a moment really when I won the show. I was like, you know what, I'm going to try and take it further. But obviously to take it further, I needed to improve on a lot of stuff. Now, obviously on the show itself, I thought I looked good.
Yeah.
But when I got the professional pictures back, I was just looking at myself and I was like, no way did I step on stage that fast.
It's crazy, eh? Like how your standard of how you look can be skewed a little, eh?
I was surprised. Like I was looking at myself and I'm like, I mean, my skin is thin as paper, but like and that was mainly to do with posing. I mean, it's not that I was like super like unfit for the stage. I just didn't know how to pose.
Yeah. Just couldn't show it.
So, yeah, I couldn't pose. My legs, no showing on my legs whatsoever. Like, nothing. And everything else is just about being able to see it. So, there was only one picture that I was like, you know what, I'm going to post only this one.
Yeah.
Only this one, nothing else.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how that day went. You know, there was a lot of people coming up to me and saying, you know, congratulations, and that you won. And I was just like, you know, I don't know how to feel about this. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, totally. So what led you to eventually becoming like 2 times British champ and all that good stuff?
I mean, after that, I just obviously went into the British finals 4 weeks later, and I improved my conditioning even more.
Yeah.
To the point of where nobody could. Personally, that's the point where I was the most conditioned, but I was not in the best shape possible.
Okay.
So I was flat as a pancake.
Right.
But I was shredded to the bone. There was no water, no fat on me whatsoever.
Yeah.
Won that show, but that's the show that I got pushed on the most, and it's still been the only show that I've been pushed on the most. After that, I went over to the Worlds, won the World, and then after that, you know, after winning the Worlds, I was the only one there, but I was put against the guys as well, and I placed third in the middles. So, you know, I was just stood there like, you know, I'm gonna give it. You know, it's not gonna be just for this year. I'm gonna take my time and actually understand what is going on, because for the prep for the Worlds, that's when I met Darren, which obviously you did an interview with previously. And that's when I met him, and obviously he taught me a lot in those 4 weeks. And I was like, you know what, this could be a thing for a lifetime, and it could change me to a positive way, which then I can actually help other people as well. So it's not just helping myself, I want to help other people as well that potentially just want to lose weight, gain muscle, or even get on show.
Yeah.
And from there onwards, I was like, I'll take it on. Took an off season, like a proper off season of what Aaron told me.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year, I went into the year saying that I'm going to compete, and I competed. But that year, I went into the junior simply because I didn't like the fact that there wasn't that many teams.
Yeah.
And because I'm the type now. Most people probably look at it in a weird way, but I'm the type of guy that would rather place third in a lineup of like 100 people.
No, exactly. You want to compete.
Then, yeah, I want to be pushed. I like being pushed, and obviously I was very disappointed from the fact that I won the world's contender as a teen. But it was the way it is, and I went on to the juniors, hoping that there's going to be more juniors in. And when I went on to the Welsh, that was the second most pushy show ever. The guys there were enormous.
Yeah, no doubt.
The guys there were enormous. So I won that as well, even though still as a teen at 19, I won the junior show.
Wow.
And then I won the overall.
That's incredible, man.
And I was just stood there like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, for sure.
I was blown away. And then I went into the British finals, even though there were like problems here and there with like injuries and uncertainty of competing. And when you get like low body fat percentages, you tend to your brain plays on you.
Yo, yeah, I'm 7 weeks out right now. I'm having those thoughts like every other day.
Exactly, it plays with you, and sometimes it can give in. And
yeah,
it just happened. And then when I went to the BNBF British finals as a junior, I won that as well, which I'm really like grateful for what I have.
Yeah.
That show itself kind of made me be grateful for what I've got and what I can give.
That's amazing.
Because I'm not an experienced dog like, for example, Darren, because Darren has been here for like 20
he's been
years now.
Forever.
He's been here forever, whilst I'm just a newcomer, and I'm quite grateful for the fact that as a newcomer, I've got everything that I've got around me, and the fact that I can actually give to people that are still newcomers and have no idea of what's going on. And yeah, that's pretty much that.
That's amazing. So talk to me real quick about what you did to, improve your conditioning from show to show to show. Like obviously you had, a couple right there in a row. What did you change between them to tighten everything up?
So back at my first season of competing, after my first show, obviously the Manchester one, I only had 4 weeks again. 4.5, really, 4.5 weeks. To improve my conditioning from there to the BNBF finals in 2016, I pretty much starved myself.
Love it.
Because I didn't know how different to approach it. I just didn't know.
So
and I pretty much starved myself for those 4 weeks.
Wow, that's crazy. Did you add any more cardio or anything like that?
Yes. Which was
the two answers I figured I was gonna hear. I ate less and I did more. That's basically what it summed up, right?
Yes, basically. And looking back at it, I'm quite glad that I did those mistakes because I learned from them.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
Now with newcomers, like I've got one of my mates here, my training partner, that wants to compete as well, and I'm quite glad that I can actually like help him as well and tell him what not to do. Although I've told him to obviously go with Darren.
Yeah.
And get Darren to prep him. I'm quite glad that I can actually like give him advice. Like if next year we both compete and he's having a bad day, he doesn't know what to do, and he doesn't want to like bother Darren, then I can help him as well. And basically tell him what not to do.
For sure. That's awesome.
Because it's something that we all end up falling into as like newcomers.
Yeah, we all make mistakes, right? And I think you have to learn, right? That's what the whole game is, right? It's a learning experience.
Basically, I mean that's what bodybuilding is. Even if you've been doing it for 40 years, you might still be learning. Yeah,
man, for sure.
Just the way it is.
Nice. All right, man. Well, I think your story is super cool. I'm glad you're able to share that. You cool if we wrap this up with just some random Q&A questions just to learn a little bit more about you?
Absolutely fine.
Awesome. Okay. Favorite body part to train?
Legs.
Leg day. Love it. And on leg day, what are your top 2 or 3 exercises you're going to hit?
Top 2, I mean, squats is straight away top 1. Second one is quite contended. It can be leg press or lunges.
Okay.
And then a third potential one is the leg extension.
Yeah. Nothing burns like the leg extension.
Pretty much. I mean, those four are my regular, like, leg day anyway. And that's the only thing I'd rather do.
Nice.
I don't really want to do anything else.
Love it. So what's your favorite? I'm going to use the term cheat meal. We can call it whatever we want. But what's your like favorite meal that you might not have when you're on prep? Like if you're in an off season and someone was like, "Let's go out, whatever you want, you pick. Where are we going?"
To be honest, well, if it comes down to a option of restaurants, there's a Nando's chain here, which is basically just chicken and like burgers and some like different sides, but it's mainly chicken. And the one thing that I'll pick is probably just a bowl of fries with a whole chicken. I mean,
like
it's very I know it probably sounds weird, and probably some people are gonna look at it like, what? Like, isn't that what you almost have?
Yeah, basically, right?
During prep, it's kind of like that. I prefer to keep it simple, and I don't like when stuff are just stuffed with random stuff in it just for the sake of it. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Sure. What's your dessert of choice if you had to pick?
What was it? Cheesecake.
Nice. I like it.
I don't know why, but I've got this attraction to cheesecake. When I see it, I want it.
Well, it's delicious. Let's be honest.
It is.
Okay, what's your biggest pet peeve in the gym?
Biggest PB. You know what? I'm probably gonna have to go with the 260 squat. I mean, the first time I hit it was when I was 16, but I didn't go all the way. I was just about like that much from parallel.
Yeah.
So when I look back at it, I was like, I'm not gonna count that. But then the second time I hit it was just recently in October, and I think because of that I did a ligament injury. But to be honest, I think that was the only PB that I would actually look at it and be like, some people do deadlifts on that.
Nice. Love it.
Some people struggle to do it on deadlifts anyway, like.
Sure.
That's the biggest PB.
What's your thoughts on, clean eating, bro eating, whatever you want to refer to it as, versus if it fits your macros?
I mean, clean eating is beneficial to some people, but the bro type of eating is obviously plain, and let's be honest, plain food can be disgusting.
Yeah.
Plain chicken or plain rice, it's got its benefits. It's a very healthy way of eating, but if it fits your macros, it's kind of better nowadays for some people. Obviously, with work and the way they live their life can be completely different and completely will not be able to do, like, for example, what I'm doing, which is food prepping. And if it fits your macros, it's kind of a more ideal way to approach for people that tend to be working more or are just busier than clean eating. Not many people like clean eating. Yeah.
What do you do when you're on prep? Are you more of a clean side of it, or do you track like meticulously and have that freedom?
It's more of a clean side split because Darren does my prep, mainly the nutrition side of it. So whatever he gives me, I'll have it on the dot.
Yeah.
But obviously, like, I'll ask him, like, can I have, like, for example, a salt, like some sort of sauce with it? Can I have salt with it? Can I have this with it? I ask him just so I don't have this guilt in my mind.
Yeah. Gotcha. What's your cardio of choice when you're on prep? Stairs, treadmill, spin bike? What do you do?
Just walking.
Yeah.
That's my only preferable cardio when it comes to prep. And but if it comes to like actual cardio exercise, it's the stepper.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, that's good. What's your goals? Maybe the next like 2 or 3 years, looking at competing again. What are you hoping to achieve?
Well, in the next 2 or 3 years, realistically, I'm going to be competing next year in 2020, and I want to get my pro card. And
with who?
It's with the BNBF. So it's the DFAC Federation, which they're associated to, which obviously if I get my pro card, I'm classed as a DFAC pro. But now the weird thing is that I want to get it through the BNBF. So I want to go to the BNBF overall and win it there, not like in the DFAC overall.
Right.
Because not to diss the DFAC or anything like that, or disrespect them, but the BNBF overall lineup tends to be a lot more competitive than the DFAC one.
Right.
And I like we talked about earlier, I like being pushed. I like to be
you want to fight.
Able to, yes, I want to be able to say I fought for that. And when it comes to that, that's my main goal. Then other than that, I mean, it's just enjoying life and being able to sustain myself rather than breaking myself.
Yeah, for sure. How long would you plan to prep for that? How many weeks?
It's probably going to be the same as last year, but I'm looking for it to be at least 4 weeks shorter. So you're probably looking at 32 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, so you prefer the longer prep, slow and steady on the way down?
Yeah, so it retains a lot of muscle, and at the same time, it's not that bad. I mean, it can get bad at times, but...
Well, yeah, it's usually, I find, because this is the first time I've done, a longer prep. Usually mine were, 14, 16, maybe 18 weeks, but this time we did 28, and it's not up until the last, I'm under 8 weeks now, so I'm starting to feel it, but up until now, like you said, it really wasn't that painful because we were so slow that I was still eating lots, doing very minimal cardio up until this point. But you're right. I think muscle retention has been way better this time around.
It's something that, we kind of overlook, but muscle retention means a lot, especially in bodybuilding. And the more muscle that you can retain in a prep, the better it is for you on the stage because obviously you're going to look bigger. And we all want that.
Exactly. All right, man, last one. What is your biggest one or two pieces of advice for the young guys getting into the gym? And maybe thinking about competing, what would you share with them?
Well, the things that I like to share, and I do share with younger people that just are getting into the gym or just want to compete, is one, at the moment, enjoy your life. Because, with a flick of a switch, depending on who you are, when you turn 20 or more, like 21, 22, you're not going to be the same person physically.
Yeah.
So, enjoy eating whatever you can at the moment because that helps enormously. A lot of people underlook it, but it helps enormously.
Yeah.
Second advice is do the basics. Just, I hate the fact that when I look in the gym, for example, that I'm at, I see a lot of youngsters doing overthinking sets or reps or exercises.
Trying to find the perfect angle for a cable fly to hit all the chest fibers, and I'm like, go bench.
Exactly. I'm just sitting there like, wait. Wait a minute. Listen to what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
And listen to what I'm saying. Just go and do benching or do the basics, deadlift, squat, master them, and then focus on little accessory ones.
Yeah.
You can do little accessory ones with the basics, but get the basics down first.
Do the big stuff.
Yes, and then for people that just want to compete, I mean, obviously everybody said this, but go to a show and watch each category, and especially the one that you're probably going to be in.
Yeah.
Watch it and look at where you're going to stand, because obviously we don't want to be the same guy as the next. We don't want to be similar, and when people look at them, it's like, they look the same. You want to be able to differentiate yourself.
Yeah.
So look at that, and then after that, make mental notes of what you can do and what you can't do.
That's awesome.
Those are pretty much the stuff that I would preach on when it comes to younger people than me at the moment.
Perfect. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. Appreciate you sharing your story and your insight and all that stuff. Plug your Instagram and stuff. Where can people find you? I'll have it all linked below, but where can people find you?
Well, normally at the moment, people can easily find me through Instagram. I didn't used to be as active as I am now,
right?
Even though I'm still not as active. I'm more active than normal.
Yeah.
And So it's Denis Mihov Strength, and they're all together, so they're not separate words.
Yep.
And that's the main one. And then if people want to ask me more, like questions on other places such as Facebook, then just type in Denis Mihov, and Mihov is Mihov.
Cool.
And yeah, just add me and then ask me questions. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that people have.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, thanks again. Appreciate you coming on. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll touch base and we'll do this again soon.
Thank you again.
And
I mean, it's a pleasure, mate. It's a pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks again, buddy. Have a good one.
You too, bud.
Bye.